Hi everyone, welcome to our alignment and posture flow on the coldest day ever. We got a snowstorm. You can't see out the window, but we got a snowstorm yesterday on Halloween. Excuse me. I'm feeling all of the congestion that comes along with it today, and I'm cold, so I've got my sweatshirt on before we heat up a little bit with our posture work. So you are going to need something that you can balance on your head. So I have this 5-pound weight plate. Not to worry, we're not gonna do anything that's very intense with this weight. It's more along the line of creating a little oppositional energy. Right, like this. Can you do it? Stay, just like that. And you say good morning? Yeah, somebody didn't eat his breakfast at home and now he wants it here at work, and we don't always bring food with us at work, so you're out of luck, dude. You gotta learn how to eat at work. I mean, at home. Yeah, I know. All right, so you need something flat that you can place on your head, firstly. Secondarily, you can use a resistance band, or if you want to work your inner thighs, you could squeeze it around your dog's head, right? We're gonna work our outer thighs with the resistance band, so that's what we're doing here today. And I want you to know that if you don't have a resistance band, you absolutely do not need one. We can use our own outer thighs. So posture work is definitely breath work. Posture work is definitely support work. I'm just double checking that we're all good to go. I think we're good to go. And maybe you're all just grabbing your dinner plates. Yeah, you are, you're good. Okay. So posture work is breath work, posture work is core support work, posture work is dynamic work. So what we're not after today is perfect posture. What we are after today is a means of supporting the posture we have. Your bones, your skeleton are all made up of beautiful strands of DNA that date back probably thousands of years at this point in time, maybe. I'm not super good with the science on it, but at least hundreds, right? You also have different situations and experiences that have lent themselves towards developing the way that you present your body into the world. Sometimes when you're in a situation where, maybe you're being asked to be on the spotlight, you might be a little shy and kind of present yourself with a little less confidence in the chest. Sometimes if you're around a group of people who has like kind of a cool posture, like a slumpy, this is making it very difficult for me, honey. You can maybe adopt a posture that's not yours. Dancers, regardless if their legs are turned out or not, you'll often see a dancer standing like this kind of stance. It's just kind of what we do. It's an identity thing. So let's just be aware that posture work is 100% dynamic and individualized. Can I get a yes in the comments for that truth? Now, we're gonna warm up a little and then we're gonna sit, and in the event that you need more seated support, I'm gonna invite you to have a chair, but right now let's just warm up our bodies, okay? So let's stand with our feet hip-width distance apart. I like your toes pointing forward, right underneath your hip sockets. We're gonna bend the knees down and then stretch up. Thank you, Colleen. He's just hungry and it drives me up the wall. We're gonna just bend and stretch our knees a couple times. We're gonna reach the knees over the second and third toe just to track our ankles, our knees, a little fold in our hip, but mostly we're staying upright, like you're sliding your back up and down a wall. I love him, believe me. He's the first person I cuddle in the morning. But he is playing this card because he knows that he has TREATS in the cabinet, and he is trying to not eat his nutritious food to go for the tasty food. It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm so sorry. Good. Let's do 2 more. Bending the knees, just getting any of the kinks out, and stretching. Oh, was that the spot? 1 more. Bending the knees and stretching. So we're gonna reach our arms out as you bend your knees, reach your body long, and then press down. Lifting your shoulders up if you need to, and press. So the goal is to keep your chest lifted, to keep your body long, to keep everything organized. One more time, reach. This time keep your arms up and then stretch up nice and tall. We're gonna turn our palms forward, pull your elbows down, reach them all the way up. Good. Pull. Yeah, they're diabolical. He is not unintelligent by any means. I don't have any food, otherwise I would show you what he does, but he can pick a hand and he can tell me exactly what he wants. And he's proven his intelligence a few times over, so we're not confused about what's happening here. It's called bold, blatant manipulation. One more time, pull it down. And we do need to work out with our dogs. Okay, so pull your right arm down and then lift your left heel and then replace them and then do the other side. Yeah, but you know on the day that we worked out with the dogs, he would be over there snoozing. He wouldn't want anything to do with me. This is the problem. Reach. Good. So we're just warming up our toes. How did Halloween go for everybody? We were not home. We ended up going over to a neighborhood with our friends, and it was cold. That's all I have to say. Good. Let's go one more each side. Yes. Last one. Reach your arms up. Bring your hands to your hips. Fold at the hips coming forward. And lifting back up. Keep going with that. I'm getting a little warmer. Fold forward. Lift it back up. Fold forward. Fixing the microphone. Lift. Fold forward. And lift. Voila. Fold forward. And lift. High. Fold forward. He's trying to participate now by moving the weight. Look at him booping it. You're just a nut. Two more. Yes. I love the Ben & Jerry's store. We get all the popsicles. Hey, no. Stay here, arms by your side. Bend your knees, reach your arms forward. Stand up, press your arms back, open your chest. Bend, press and reach. Bend and reach. Press and open. Good. Reach. Oh, Tracy's got an extra dog today. That's awesome. Open it up. Reach it forward. One more time. Open it up. Reach it forward and stay. Bend your knees. We're going to swing the left arm back and then switch the right. Keep your knees bent. Good. Let's pick up the pace. Reach, reach, reach. We go for 8 and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach both arms forward, lift up, stretch up. Let's round our spines forward. Just take a nice long stretch. Keep your legs as straight as you like as you come down. Hello. Let's bend our knees a little deeper. Stretch a little taller. Bend a little deeper. Stretch a little taller. Couple more. Bending, let your head get heavier. Lift your hips to the sky. Last one, bend it down. And stretch it up. And then we're gonna roll up through the spine, slowly, all the way to the top. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is work with our dinner plate. Again, you can be seated or standing. I'm gonna sit next to Flash. If you have a 5-pound plate, you can use one. So it's gonna feel a little bit awkward at the start because you think about people balancing. You know what, you could use a book on your head, but you wanna make sure it's got a little bit of weight to it. That's why I chose a dinner plate, like a heavier one. So you wanna place your object on the crown of your head, which is not towards the back, not towards the front. If you think of your eyes looking kind of straight forward, your ears right over your shoulders on the same kind of plane, you absolutely 100%, especially if you're using a plate, are encouraged to keep your fingertips on it to balance it so it doesn't fall. And I also understand that like what you see here might be a little diagonal. So no panicking, I'm gonna keep it up there. All right, so when you get your object placed, again, a lot of times we think about like that quintessential, I don't know if it's a cliche or a trope or both, I can't remember the way the definition works, but it's a model, you know, walking the catwalk, not disturbing the book on her or his or their head. And so as we're sitting here, what we're not trying to perform, but rather this is a means of exaggerating the gravitational pull that's happening naturally in the world around us. So if you're sitting in a chair or if you're on the floor, just bring your awareness towards your sitting bones and notice if you are equally weighted in both sitting bones. Good morning, Joy. If you didn't get the message at the beginning, we're working with either a heavier book or a dinner plate balanced on the top of our head. I don't even know if you can see it in the video. Seated in a chair or seated on the mat. So we're focusing in on our sitting bones and just looking to feel as balanced as we can from one sit bone to the other. And what's interesting, as you try to balance this thing on your head, your spine's gonna do a little dance, and that's okay. All right, once we establish a pretty good awareness of the sitting bones, then we're gonna think about the lower back, and we're going to think about just creating a little bit of space between where our ribs end and where our hips end. So this midsection. So I like to just think of stretching on the back side more than the front, just stretching the distance between maybe where the top of my leggings hit, and for me, or for you if you wear a sports bra, where the bottom of that elastic is. For those who don't wear this particular piece of clothing, sometimes if you've ever worn a heart rate monitor or something around your lower ribs, it's that about this distance, and we want to just think from the hips to the ribs of lifting up. And when you do that, it might put you a little bit more on the front side of your sitting bones. So if this is a sit bone, the back side is towards the back, the front side is here. Sometimes when you create that space, you start to roll forward, deepening your hip fold. This is why I said a chair is okay. All right, once we've got the space in the lower back, just want to take some deep breaths into the rib cage, thinking about expanding out to the side. And exhaling, finding the connection back to center. Breathing in and exhaling back to center. Breathing in and back to center. One more time, breathing in and back to center. But then from here, let's just think about the shoulders being heavy, like there's a 5-pound weight just tugging down at the tips of the shoulder blades, rolling open the chest, bringing it down and back, widening your collarbones. And then finally, from your ears to your shoulders, can you lengthen the distance between those two landmarks? Now, with your skull, so you've got kind of your shoulders dropping down, with your skull, press up, reach up, lift the top of your head, not your shoulders, the top of your head into the object you're balancing on top of it. So we said a minute ago, we're kind of amplifying the gravitational pull. By adding a little weight in this vertical plane, we're maybe bringing a little more awareness to our brain of, what it's like to actually work in opposition to a downward pull. Because a lot of times posture is just a means of being tired throughout the day. And so slowly throughout the day, we kind of crumble and crunch. And let me show you what happens to the side if I can do this without losing my weight. So if I'm up at the beginning, I've got lots of space and support and energy, and then throughout the day, I'm looking at a computer. So notice the back of my neck, back of my upper back, the lack of support here. So this consistent posture, this one, can result in some digestive problems, some breathing problems, because ultimately what happens is we're shutting off the space. So our idea with this exercise is to press the skull up into the weight, to get taller, to feel the power of our spinal muscles, and to reach up. So we've given you just enough time in this position. Let's just do a little bit of arm articulation. So bring your arms out to the side. We're gonna bring the shoulders up to the ears and then slide them down and away. And again, bring them up, slide them down and away. As they reach down and away, I want you to think of your head reaching up into the weight. So we kind of close off the neck and then we reach it all the way up. Hold your arms down, just reach them to shoulder height and touch down. You can mimic the idea of having a weight in your hands by simply pressing through the space as if it were made of something solid. Think like peanut butter or caramel or something like that, that has enough give, but also enough resistance. We're gonna do 2 more. Stretch and lower. 1 more, stretch up and stay. And now we're gonna go front to back. So slice it forward and reach it back, balancing the whole time. If you need to do this with only 1 arm, I get it. If you need to use the other one for balance and it's really challenging, good. Let's reach for 4. I regularly send my clients home with a 5-pound weight plate like this, because my in-person ones, because this is such an effective one for length. And good. Let's reach forward here. We're gonna pull the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades. Reach and squeeze. How are you balancing on those sitting bones? Are you more on one side than the other? How's the length of the lower back? Good. Let's go for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and good. All right, release down. Let's get ready to take our hands up to the weight. We're gonna lift the weight off of our head, but first, reach your head up into the weight, and then when you can no longer reach it up, lift the weight up off of your head, lower it down for a moment, and just notice how you feel after that. There's that kind of sensation of the weight being right at the top of your head. That's what we want to feel. It's almost a line of energy from the crown of your head out through your tailbone, okay? I'm gonna take this and place it to the side. We may or may not use it again. And we're gonna transition onto, hi Flash, we're gonna transition onto our hands and knees. Hi. All right, so hands are shoulder. Yeah, I have coffee breath and you have dog breath, get over it. We have our hands underneath our shoulders, our knees underneath our hips. And for a moment as we're here, I just want you to revisit that length in your spine. So I automatically kind of collapse into my lower back. I want to find that length again. I want to find that reach. Colleen says my fascia is talking back to me. Yeah, it will too, like in that, because we have just asked muscles to kind of elongate and support at the same time in some cases. And so sometimes you get a little stretch on that connective tissue. Yeah, well, you talk too much too. Let's round our spine, curling, reaching down. Thanks for leaving all the hair, buddy. And then arch our back, reach. I saw something online that said like the 3 best dogs for intruders. Let's round again. One was like a golden retriever because it would cuddle the intruder and submit it with its cuteness. And then they said another one, I forgot which one, but the last one was a husky because the intruder would walk in, immediately be overcome by the amount of hair and not be able to breathe in the house. And I was like, this is my life. So much hair. He is not a husky. I know he doesn't look like a husky, but his mommy is a husky. Reach and lift. Good, let's do a couple more rounding. And reaching. And then one more rounding. And then instead of going into your arched back, let's come out into a nice kind of long spine. We're gonna pick up the closest foot to me heel towards your sitting bone here. And then this is the one where you spin on your knee. Most of your weight is on your supporting knee and hands. You're just gonna take your foot out to the side and you're gonna peek over. So I'm using my left foot right now and I'm peeking over my left shoulder to look at it. And then we're gonna spin it around the other way. And then we're gonna peek over our right side to see it over there. So as we just spin side to side, you don't have to do anything too severe on your knee. It should not hurt. You know, it's just a kind of a light touch as you turn it. But what I want you to notice more than the sensation on the knee is really the side body. So we're shortening one side to lengthen the other. Flash, no. And then shortening the other side to lengthen the side we were just on. All right. Ooh, you are going to go into the doghouse today, my friend. My goodness. Let's go a couple more. Yeah, you're causing problems, kid. Good. One more each side. Good. Look over that shoulder. Let's come all the way in, and then we're going to go ahead and shift our weight so that we can bring that foot forward into a little bit of a lunge. And then from here, let's just shift our weight forward so we feel the ankle fold, but your heel stays onto the mat. And then we're gonna shift back, gentle at first. And then if you have the range and it feels kind of satisfying to go all the way to open your other hip, and then all the way here. That's where we're headed, but anywhere in the middle of these two extremes is totally fine. So let's just go back and forth here. Quite the sensation to pay attention to your posture. Yeah. Yeah, the little ball with the lower, yeah, I'm glad you're using the small ball. It's really helpful. It does a lot. That's why I love working with props, because they can sometimes enhance awareness. That's really my main reason. It's not to make it super hard or super easy. It's just to give you an idea of what can happen. Let's go kind of 3, 2, 1. So we'll go back and forward and back, and then come up onto your lunge. And I'm gonna stand into it here. Now, we're not gonna stand, but from here, I would like you to tuck your toes under. And I just want you to think about what would have to be present in order for me to stand. Okay, so as we kind of push into this front foot, lift your arms up and kind of pretend you're gonna stand. If you wanna lift your knee off, you can. I'm not gonna do it because of my foot, but it's just the idea of kind of shifting your weight in, trying to get up a little bit, lifting through your center, pressing the weight up with the crown of your head. Yeah. Let's go for 3. And 2. Last one, reach it up. Place your hands down. My foot is not ready to be in that position, in a standing position, but we try it out. All right, let's bring the other foot forward, and then we're just gonna come into a little stretch of the hip. However long you wanna go, reaching back. You can make it small or big. Just kind of pumping those joints as much as you can, as much as you want to. Good. Reach it back. Press it forward. Reach it back. A couple more. And press. And reach. Let's do one more of each. All right, coming into that place where we're kneeling, tucking the back foot back, feeling a little bit of lift. We're gonna reach the arms up, shifting the weight into this leg, imagining we could stand, and then lowering down. Press. This side I can do it because I have the toe mobility, but the other side was not happening today. If you want to try it with me. Good. Let's go a couple more. Lift. We're gonna work on the reach. Don't forget about the reach through the crown of your head, yeah? Good. 2 more. Last one. Up and good. All right, let's come back. Round your spine. Let's extend it. And then we're gonna come back down onto our front body here. Okay, I had to move that out of the way. All right, so feel your hips pretty flush to the mat. Feel your chest wide. Let me know if the mic goes out. I think I'm okay. I can see my levels. All right, elbows are wider than the mat. They're down on the mat to start. We're gonna begin by squeezing your shoulder blades together and then releasing them down. Here we go. Squeeze them together and release them down. Now, as we're doing this very simple move, maybe what you think about is that reach through the crown of the head, as if your weight plate or dinner plate or book was still there. You're kind of pushing it away from you, finding that lower back length. Good. Let's do one more with the shoulder blade. And bring it down. Now, we're gonna go shoulder blades together, hover the hands off and up to maybe shoulder height, lower the hands, and then release the blades. So 4 parts. We go shoulder blades, we hover the hands, we release the hands, and then we release the blades. Try it again. Shoulder blades, hover the hands, nice long lower back, release the hands, release the blades. I'm worried about my microphone. There we go. Shoulder blades. You got me. Hands. Yeah, there we go. Hands. Oops. And blades. Let's go one more time. Shoulder blades. Hands come up this time and hold. We're going to stretch the arms out. Pull them in. Stretch them out. Pull them in. Reach your lower back long. This is all for your upper back. We go for 4. And in, and 3, and 2, and 1, good, and lower all the way down. Let's press ourselves back to a little rest pose. Reaching hips back to heels, just kind of getting a little traction between your upper and lower back. Good, we're gonna come down back onto your stomach. Take your hand, back hand comes around so that it's kind of directly off in front of your chest, and front hand goes around a little bit more, because what we're gonna do is start to do just a little twisted swan. So we're looking over that shoulder, this time more from the upper body, and then coming all the way down. So just a little press. It does not have to be super high. You want it to feel like it's satisfying for you. So go up as high as you can, but even if you're just pressing yourself up a little bit, make sure you take your eyes over your back shoulder. Look towards those feet. Bring it all the way down. And look. And down. So I'm sorry and not sorry. Hopefully you can't hear it so much. I gotta keep the heat on because it gets too cold in here in the winter. So if you hear the buzz in the background, it is my big heater pumping on. I don't have central anything in this unit, which is why I can afford it, in all honesty. All the other units have central air and heat. Let's go 3 more, but not mine. We just have lots of plants and Pilates equipment. God, rear. All right, let's come back to center. Take a second. Let's go to the other side. So the back hand comes to the front hand goes a little bit around, press up to look, lower all the way down. Press up to look, lower all the way down. Good, again. Reach, and lower, and reach, and lower, and reach. There we go. And I'm just trying to find a rhythm that just puts me into this position over and over again, just so I can find a little bit of engagement there. Good. Let's go one more time. Press it up and back, and lower all the way down. Good. All right, rest your head for a second. Take a breath. All right, take your hands down on either side. Think of drawing those shoulder blades towards one another, and then just press up and see what you have for a back bend, and then lower all the way down. Good. And press up. This space, I've been here since 2016. I can't even believe it. But it has been here for a long time. It's one of, we're in a part of town called North Center, around all the trains, and there's lots of loft buildings. I actually got married in one across the way, but they're old factories, so they've been around for a long, long time. Most of them have been outfitted into event spaces or some restaurants, some office spaces. Good. All right, everybody, let's let that be our last one. Press back. So I don't know how old this one is, but it's definitely seen some action in its day. It's definitely not a new building by any means. In fact, we had to get them to seal up a lot of the brick because my downstairs neighbor and I just felt like we were in the same room because we could hear everything. So luckily, I think it's storage now, but we're all good. All right, we're gonna put the resistance band around our outer thighs. Let's begin on our side, and then we'll put it all together. So we're gonna take a stance or position like so. The heels are in line with the sitting bones. Rest your head on your shoulder. Make sure you're not forward with your head, because then that would be really practicing that posture. Now, it's one thing if your body is shaped in a way that brings you a little more forward and you have to be here for comfort. It's really stressful to go back here, then we don't want the stress. When the stress overrides the perceived benefit, then it starts to negate it totally. So we want you to be in the place where you have the most space, front, back, and side. So choose that space for yourself. If you need a pillow for your head, that's totally reasonable. And then feel that you're balanced and stacked, aligned with your hips. From here, we're gonna press up and then lower down, just to the point where I have tension still. So I've got a light wide band. That doesn't mean it's easy at all. So we're just lifting up and lowering it down. Now, what I'm not doing is moving my foot first. In fact, my foot is just kind of resting. It's more my thigh, yeah. Good. Yeah, this room is really interesting. I used to do a lot of before I was really busy, I used to do a lot of sage ceremonies in here just to clear it out. I just feel like it's mine now, weirdly. I feel like we're all, if there's any stories in these walls, that they're fine with me being here, honestly. I do feel very safe here. Good. 2 more times. Lift and lower. So why are we working our outer hips? Let's lower down to that hover. Now from here, we're gonna pull the knee in, hip flexor, and then press it back, hamstring. So we just worked our outer hips, and now we're working our front of our hip socket, back of the hip socket. Why? Because if we're talking about standing and even seated posture, the more that the muscles of hip support are online, can make moves, etc., the more that they're available to us, the easier time we have supporting ourselves. It's basically like we want to get as many support systems on hand. Your body is an ecosystem. It's not one muscle over another, but we can kind of highlight certain areas that are known to provide support to offer ourselves more support, yeah? We have 4 more of these. These are not easy, hence why I chose the light band today. 2, and fun. Good, all right, bring it back in. Let's come on all the way up to sit for a moment. Sit in a side sit. If you need to bring it forward into a Z, that's okay. We're gonna take our hand to our ankle, leg, wherever you need to hold on to. Sit up nice and tall. I always like to push my ribs over to the side that I'm stretching towards. And then take a nice long reach. Chest lifts. Yes. And then let's grow through the center. Reach to the crown of the head. Revisit that sense of pressing the weight up with the crown of your head. And then keep that sense of reaching out through the crown of the head. So the stretch isn't down, but it's out. Yeah. Good work. Come on back to center, and then let's rotate to the other side. The thing about this building is that it's kind of transient, so I have some neighbors who have been here for a long time, but others just kind of cycle through every year. All right, heels in line with your sits bones. Bring your head into a place where you feel like your ears are kind of stacked, you're supported. We're gonna lift up the top leg up and then lower down. Good. But I always, no matter whether it's been like a first space, I've had a lot of studio spaces, especially when I owned my own place. And I always just take my time when I'm decorating, thinking about what it wants to be. So what this place looked like when I moved in versus what it does now, two completely different things. Good. Press your thigh up, lower down. I'm not trying to get my knee higher than my hip. It might go a little bit. There's definitely some quivers happening. Good. Up and lower. Let's go one more, up. And then lower with tension. We're gonna fold in the knee to bring it forward, press it back, and fold it forward, and press it back. And I'm kind of folding it forward, finding the position, not just moving quickly into it and quickly out of it, but more thinking about how can I really know that I'm where I wanna be. I think sometimes just taking that tiny little pause can mean the difference between like receiving the benefit of an exercise and just doing an exercise. Good. Yeah, the mermaid stretch, it might be a stretch that you do, Tracy, on your rebounder if it's easier to sit. It's usually the hip flexion that causes the most challenge in that position. Last one, and to the back. So you want to come into a place where your hips can be managed. So we're going to do one more exercise with the band, so I'm just leaving it on. A Z-sit is a great modification, I guess you could say, option is how I might say it. You can put a pillow or a yoga block underneath this outside hip, and that might help you with a little more support. Or you can sit in a chair and just work a side bend, or sit on your rebounder and work a side bend. So the idea is that we're vertical, we're really lifted, and instead of going down, we reach out on the diagonal. So that idea of pressing up through the crown of your head and stretching. So it might not even look like much. It's just more about opening up the side body as best you can. But if you have to get your hips out of this deeply flexed space to find mobility in your spine, that's okay. It's just, I want to say it's like a chicken and egg situation. Kind of is, right? Like, what comes first, the side bend or the hip flexion? Well, right now we're working on the side bend. So that's the main objective. And so if the hip flexion is keeping you from enjoying or receiving the side bend, then we have to work on the hip flexion with a block or something. Yeah. Okay, the block under the hip. Yeah, pretty much anything that elevates you from the floor is going to decrease the angle of flexion at your hip, which usually increases the comfort level. So just, I think that in our processing, the way we want to think about it is, if I'm sitting on a block or I'm sitting in a chair, I want to be really focused on being active in my hips so that I can progress to a place where I need less support. And maybe that doesn't happen ever, but the thought process is to not be dependent on the prop instead use it as a place to garner strength from. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's come all the way down onto our backs. And we're just gonna be here in kind of a centered pelvis, pressing your knees out, 2, 3, and then coming back in until your knees are hip width distance. So I go 1, 2, 3, and recover till they're right here, not touching, out. And when I say hip width distance, I'm really talking about the hip socket. So right into the joint. Good. Press, 2, 1, and back to center. And where are we feeling it? Ideally right around the seat area. So maybe side glute, maybe where the glute and hamstrings meet. Ideally not in the front of the hip socket, at least not as the primary sensation. If you do feel a lot up here, maybe consider dropping back a little bit into your lower back. So you bring your lower back a little closer to the mat. Sometimes that can help. Good. We're gonna do 2 more like this. Press, 2, 1, and in. 1 more time. Press, 2. Watching my time today. We're good. All the way in. All right, from here, center yourself, like really feel the weight down into your pelvis. And if you want to keep your feet down for this one, be my guest. Otherwise, we're going to bring this up. This is the next level, and we're going to do the same exercise. I'm already shaking a little bit with the knees above the hips. So we just open, 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 and recover to close. I want to feel an even press from both legs. Good. And in. Press, 2, 3, and in. Press, 2, 3. Now if you're feeling like you can manage a straight leg, you can do them with straight leg. If not, just go back to feet on the ground. It's the same muscle group. The difference is when we lift the feet off or we straighten the legs, we start to lengthen the lever of our joint, and it makes it a little harder, but it's not better, you know? Think about their stress levels. Which one provides you the most access to the exercise and the least access to stress? That is our focus. I came off of our beat. We'll find it. Here we go. Press out, 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 and recover. 1 more time. Press out, 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 recover, bend your knees, lower them down. We're gonna pop our hips up and then lower them all the way down. And just flat back, press it up, lower all the way down. Good, let's go a little faster. Press it up, lower down, press up and lower down, and lift and lower and up and lower. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1 more. Lift it up and hold. Press your knees open and open. Keep lifting your hips a little higher. Good. Press and press and press and press. We go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then just roll down through your spine. Trying to roll 1 bone at a time all the way down. Let's extend our legs out. Let's reach our arms overhead. Big stretch. Feel the space between your ribs and your hips on now the front, the sides, and the back of our body. Good. We're gonna bend the knees in. You can take the strap off if you want. I'm just gonna keep it there for right now. Reach your arms forward towards your thighs. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders up and hold it for a moment. Use your hands on your legs. Feel the plate on the top of your head. Think of pushing it to the sky as you curl forward a little bit more and then lower all the way down, reaching your arms over your head. We're just doing 4 of those. Deep breath in. Think about your breath work from last week. Set your head. Pull up a little higher and lower it all the way down. And again, press forward. Curl up a little higher. Keep that weight atop your head. and then it magically disappears for safety as we go down. One more time. Reach it forward, curl it up, find the width of your back, feel the connection, and then lower all the way down. We can go rolling over to the side to come up. We'll take our band off. We don't need it anymore. We toss it away. And then make your way up to standing. So the last thing that we want to do today is just, again, work on a little standing posture work, a little balance, and then we're going to try a couple of squats. So one of the tests for postural strength is whether or not you can squat with your arms overhead. Now, if you can't do it, it doesn't mean that you're bad or wrong. It just is revealing some upper, middle, lower back, and hip work that needs to be achieved. So a lot of people think posture work, core work, lots of crunches, not the full story, okay? So let's take our hands behind our head. We're gonna bend the knees and just come down into whatever squat you can manage. Reach your arms up as high as you can. If that's a goalpost, that's okay. And then reach your arms up overhead. Take them back behind your head. If they need to come here and goalpost, that's okay. We'll go ahead and bend the knees down. I'm gonna go into a deep squat this time. I can do it here. Reach the arms up and press. Hands maybe behind the head. Bend the knees down to the deepest squat you have. Find it, reach your arms up overhead, lift, and you can feel you're lifting from your hips and your back. It's your deepest squat, not mine, okay? Let's lower down. We just got a thumbs up on the screen. I wonder what that means. Reach up. I have no idea. Good. I literally don't know. Remember the hearts? Let's go one more time. Maybe we hit a milestone. Who knows? I don't understand it. I'm trying. Reach all the way up to the top. Okay. Shake it off. Come back to center. We've run out of music, but it's okay. We're just going to try a little balance on one leg, a little balance on the other leg. Now, normally after we've done some level of hip work and back work, balance gets a little easier as long as you're not thinking about it too much. Let's see if we can find it on one side. Feels pretty good. Find it on the other side. Feels pretty good. I hope it feels pretty good for you too. Then just to finish, let's stand feeling those feet heavy against the mat, feeling that energy up the back of the legs, down through the heels maybe, open hips in the front, lots of space between your ribs and your hips, active upper back, and then that sensation of really reaching up through the crown of the head. Sometimes that causes us to just kind of drop your chin a bit, which is fine. It's just fine. So reach. Let's finish our practice with 3 deep breaths. Big one in. Exhale all the way down. And again, big breath in. And all the way. We'll do one more time. Big breath in. And all the way. So your takeaway today, firstly, is to remember that plate, that weight plate on top of your head. If you're working at a computer or you're doing any kind of like body work throughout the day, taking care of the puppies, whatever it ends up being, I want you to remember that it is a good reset to find 2 feet on the ground, press the weight plate up, check in with the space around your back, okay? So that's a great way to think about it. Another aspect of postural reminder is just to make sure that you get up and move. It's not the sedentary posture that is bad for us. It's actually the lack of movement. So it's not sitting, it's the lack of standing. And it's not laying on the couch, it's the lack of activity through the day. So if you can consider that, if I want to sit, then I also should find places to move a bit throughout the day. That can really break it up. So one of the ways I do it in the workspace is I have different workspaces for different tasks that I have to do throughout the day. So sometimes I'm at a standing desk, sometimes I'm at the couch, sometimes I'm at my coaching corner, sometimes I'm teaching, and I make it diversified enough and varied enough so that I can kind of like have movement throughout the room in one given day. It's not all working out. It's just getting up and changing the position. So that's the first reminder. The second is never coming up for me. Why do you never work for me? I put it on and everything. The second is to remember why the moves matter to your life today. So it looks like the posture stuff really works. And if you have somebody, you know, it's inevitable that someone in your life is experiencing back pain or some level of postural something or other. There's always a conversation that people talk about that looks something along the lines of, you know, oh, I got to work on my posture. My posture is getting worse as I get older. Share this class with them and let them, even if they just listen, it's a new take on it, because a lot of times we think it's too hard to go after. It's really not hard, not hard at all. Joy says, how often should you move from your sitting position? So there's two little kind of tricks. They do say once an hour, but there's a Pomodoro technique, and it says for every 20 minutes of work, do 5 minutes of movement. So if you're at your desk, you set the timer for 20 minutes, you get up and move around for 5, whether it's shaking out, stretching, going, making tea, making coffee, getting something to eat, something like that. It just resets, it just gives some more fluid, it just gives some more lotion to your joints, things like that. And so that's the Pomodoro technique. It was named because the timer that the guy used was shaped like a tomato. That's all it has to do with tomatoes. So for every 20 minutes, you get up and move for 5. And I know 20-minute work periods seem really short, but the good thing about this that I learned from my dear old dad, who made me watch VHS tapes called Where There's a Will, There's an A. So there is a learning curve and a concentration curve that follows the same kind of time signature. So for every 20, you like kind of peak within your 20 minutes, and then you go onto, and then you get distracted, and you peak again, and you get distracted. So it is good also for productivity and for concentration. So that's one. The other one is for every 20 minutes staring at the screen, you look up for 20 seconds at something that's 20 feet far away from you, and that's good for eye health. So for every 20 minutes you're at the screen, you look up for 20 seconds at something that's 20 feet away. Maybe, I don't know the metric conversion, you all, and I know you're in Canada, so sorry. But just think of those 20. So if you set your timer for 20 minutes, then you look up, look out, then get up, move around, come back. I guarantee you'll start to get more done and you'll feel better in your body throughout the day. So that maybe is your assignment. Yeah. All right, my friends, I will see you tomorrow. I already forgot what the class is, but it's up. We're gonna do a recovery reset. Why can't I think of what it is? It's okay, we'll get there. It's been a long week. If you are feeling a little sluggish today from the candy, because that can happen, the salt and the sugar, hydrate and go towards more whole foods, foods that aren't processed today. That's our goal, is to get into the place of just a blood sugar regulation. After you've had an indulgence, which I am all for, and I certainly did, we just want to help our cells get regulated with blood sugar. We want to go back towards whole foods, eat your carbohydrates with some proteins and fats. You can have fruits, just put a nut butter on them of some sort, you know, enjoy your life, but just help your body regulate a bit more, and then we can have candy later. Okay? All right, see you tomorrow. Love ya.